after a few weeks of Agree or Disagree is finally back, one of our loved series on this channel. We take 4 of your guys' opinions and we take them from our social medias, mainly on Twitter. We'll post and then you'll give us your opinions on Formula One. Big, crazy, bold statements can be due to obviously this weekend, which is the Eiffel Grand Prix, what's happened in a previous race, and we'll try and give our opinions. So of course, do we agree or do we disagree? It's a great series, as I say, we love it. You'll see our opinions down below, and of course our opinions why. So without further ado, let's kick off with our first statement. Jordan, what is our fans got to say about this episode of Agree or Disagree?
It is brilliant. Everyone loves it. It's our favourite ever series. Everyone just completely washes out every other content. I'm only kidding. So obviously our first opinion actually comes in from YouTube as well. The YouTube guys this week have been solid job in terms of opinions. First one comes in from CPB1. A lot of C and P's and B's, a lot of mouth work there as well. He says, it's a long one, mine, so strap in. He says, if Mercedes decide not to renew Bottas's contract next year, or Bottas retires, then in my personal opinion, Esteban Ocon will replace him because of his previous relationship with Mercedes being the reserve driver. George Russell, as good as he is, probably won't be ready yet from the Mercedes team's standpoint. He needs to score points to prove that he is really ready. Now, we did go on to add on more about his opinion, but, we've only got, I want to go have my tea soon, so we can't be here all day. But he goes off into a different tangent, so I've cropped it down a little bit just for him. So basically what he's saying is, Bottas, if he's not there next year, Esteban Ocon will be replacing him at Mercedes. And to that, I'm going to say, disagree.
I'm going to say agree.
So with Esteban Ocon, now, yes, we know from... I don't know if he still is a Mercedes reserve driver because I don't think he officially cut ties with Mercedes. I still think he's got connections somewhere along the lines, but nevertheless, he's at Renault at the moment. He will be there next year, as they'll be called Alpine, whatever you want to call it. I think this year for me is, has Esteban Ocon been exposed? I said this in a previous video that I wasn't too impressed with Ocon's performances. When he was at Racing Point / Force India, he was seen as the next big talent. He was seen as the future world champion with Mercedes. He's left for a year, he's come back, that hype is gone. It's like irrelevant now. Maybe 1 or 2 people are still talking about that. And I'm like, okay, then I understand why it isn't there, because I'm not really impressed with Ocon's performances. It's been okay, don't get me wrong, for a year away, it's been okay. But I expect a bit more from Ocon, I really do, and I expect more, especially next season after he's been there for another year. No more excuses about being out for another year for 2021, but we're not on about that. I think a lot of people are now realising and going, is Ocon really ready to replace Bottas more than likely? Which I think it is going to be replacing Bottas, these two drivers we're talking about. Now, even though, yes, he does have that Mercedes ties with him, and yeah, I think he is managed by Toto Wolff. I think his time might have passed for that seat. Now, marketing wise, him being at Renault, it makes sense. French driver in the French team, it totally makes sense. There wasn't any seats available at this point anyway, and he was linked with that Mercedes seat once. I think after Bottas's 2018 season, there was talk of him possibly going to Mercedes. Did he deserve it? No, not really. Bottas is there, rightly so in my opinion, even though Bottas, he's not really doing as well this season. At the end of the day, he's got a job to do. He's there to play number 2. Does Ocon want to play number 2 to Lewis Hamilton? Probably not. And certainly he wants to go forward. He wants to be the guy to lead Mercedes in the future. Of course he wants to be. He doesn't want to be number 2. I just think Russell, even I'll get on Russell in a little bit because Russell is the next, is partly of the next opinion for me anyway. But I think he's more in. I think he's more next in line. I think he's more sugar coated and surrounded by Mercedes because he's their official kind of junior driver. Ocon has gone more past as new. Is he still part of Mercedes in that kind of thing? I really don't know. There's every single chance he could be if Mercedes are limited of options. If they want to go, right, okay, put Ocon alongside Lewis Hamilton. It's not a ridiculous idea. It really isn't. I just think maybe Mercedes might look at Ocon's performances and go, are you really ready? Really? you know what I mean? And they might have put him in a Renault, going, get some experience. We might need you in that seat, and they might look at it and go, I don't know if he's really ready or not to challenge, not only to, well, maybe not to challenge Lewis, but to be there when Lewis isn't there, if he's out of a Grand Prix for whatever reason. And I'm looking, the more I'm looking at it, I'm going, no, I don't think Mercedes will. I think they'll more take the nod to Russell. Mm-hmm. Yet, I don't know. I don't think it'll be 2021. I maybe give it another couple of years, perhaps, for many reasons, which I'll explain in a little bit. But I don't see Ocon. I can see Bottas there for another year, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Because it just works. It really does. Unless Bottas gets fed up with being alongside Lewis and just goes off to another team for pastures new, or to another series. I don't think he'll retire. I don't think Bottas will retire. I think he's got a lot more to offer. I think Bottas would be better at a midfield team. I think where that is his own team. Because at Mercedes, he's not the lead driver. He's the number 2 driver. We all know this. At a team like Renault could be beneficial for both parties. Alfa Romeo could be, Haas, even McLaren to a certain degree could be good for Bottas being the lead driver. He's not a terrible driver, Bottas. He really isn't. Even though some people are saying, oh, he's the worst driver since sliced bread. He's not. He is a good driver. It's just he can't be exploited enough to obviously to show what he really can do, because he's number 2 to Lewis Hamilton. And this season hasn't been good, but over the years we have seen how good Bottas can be. So for that, I think Mercedes might give him another year, because at the end of the day, he's not there to win championships. He's not there to beat Lewis. He's there to support the team, to get the team's constructors points. And if Bottas isn't getting the points that the team that the team needs to win championships, then Bottas isn't going to be there. But as long as he's doing that, and as long as Mercedes want him there, he will be staying there. So I'm more favouring towards Bottas will be there for 2020. Well, he's going to be there for 2021, but I'm saying he might be there for another year. So Lyle, Ocon to Mercedes. You said agree with that. Yeah. What's the reasons why?
Well, firstly, I think Bottas is a good driver, and I completely agree with you. I don't know why people think he's the worst driver since sliced bread. Victor of the Russian Grand Prix.
Yeah, he's not.
Still good. And firstly, I think Bottas will stay for next year, and he'll stay for another good few years. And again, this might actually help why I'm going to say agree. So we looked at Formula 2, of course, now, Mick Mania and like I mentioned in the news yesterday, and all the Formula 2 drivers coming through, and even the F1 drivers in F1 right now, going to Mercedes, it's all the talk about, people being promoted from Haas to Ferrari, and, AlphaTauri to Red Bull, and in Formula 2 getting into, those lower seats, Haas and Alfa Romeo, and even Williams. And yes, of course, we've got Williams and Racing Point now, which will become Aston Martin, but Aston Martin are going to become their own kind of franchise where they're not going to want to move to Mercedes. They want to become an A team, very much like AlphaTauri do. But I would say they've got more of a stronghold because it's Aston Martin. It's the name of an actual brand. It's popular. So they've got Williams. But apart from that, no one, I don't really know. I don't think they have anybody else lined up to take that Mercedes seat. Nobody in the wings, nobody in Formula 2, nobody really in Formula 3, nobody even in Formula 1. And any names you can chuck at us can be chucked to other teams. For example, Sergio Perez. And obviously, again, like I talked in the news yesterday, he isn't really even on the cards for Mercedes. There's talk about him going to other teams, but as he's playing his cards very close to the chest. I think Hamilton and Bottas, of course, will stay there for the next few seasons. Bottas probably will stay there longer than Hamilton. We don't know about that. But when it comes to replacing Bottas, yes, of course, George Russell is there, and of course, he's a very skilled driver. And again, I said we're going to, if Bottas is there for another 4 seasons, that might help Russell because he will become more of an experienced driver. Even 4 more seasons with Williams will help. But of course, that changed the dynamic of the question. And Lewis might be 10-time world champion by then, so I can't answer as in Russell's going to replace Bottas in 4 years. The question was, will he replace him next year? And if that does happen, then no, Russell will not be ready. And the reason why is because, Mercedes are looking over their shoulders to what happens at Ferrari and what happens at Red Bull Racing. So Ferrari promoted Charles Leclerc after 1 season at Alfa Romeo. That could have been very risky. Very, very risky for a team like that because they haven't promoted anyone as young like that before. They've had Felipe Massa, they've had Kimi Räikkönen, they've had Fernando Alonso, Rubens, Michael. They've had people who have experience behind them. And Michael was nowhere near being a young enough driver to come in there. He already came in with 2 world championships. Rubens, he came in. I don't think he had. Maybe he didn't have a win. I can't really remember. But he was experienced. Felipe Massa. They've had experienced drivers, and now they would never do that. They got Sebastian Vettel, which was a good move for them when they, of course, did. But they don't want someone young and inexperienced because it might fail. Mercedes were probably banking on Charles Leclerc failing at Ferrari. They were probably hoping that would happen. It didn't. I mean, obviously Mercedes have not lost anything, but they're probably thinking, oh God, I can't believe this has actually worked, because now Charles is going to be the next big thing, leading Ferrari. So let's turn to Red Bull Racing, the team where, yes, things have gone badly. The promoted drivers who aren't ready, the promoted drivers who are ready but haven't got the results. It's all mad at Red Bull, and the move too fast. They remind me of like that Drake and Josh skit of the sushi line. And the sushi line's just going way too fast for them, and they're like messing up, they're chucking all the sushi around, they're eating it and all that. And Red Bull actually is a little bit, well, not Red Bull Racing as a whole, but maybe the Red Bull program is like that. They're rushed. They don't really know what they're doing. Max he's doing well. He's got his mouth open on the conveyor belt. The sushi's just going in his mouth. He's got no worries. He's won. But Pierre Gasly's the one where he's like 10 arms just juggling it all around. They don't really know what they're doing. So anyway, getting back to the point. So Mercedes are looking at that and they're saying Red Bull have done badly in that way. They promoted Gasly when he wasn't ready. They promoted Albon, who might not be ready. And in that way, Gasly was young. Albon is insanely young. He did, 11 races before he went to Red Bull Racing. 11 races in a Formula 1 car. I know he'd been in Formula 2, but 11 races? Really? And he went up, so Mercedes would have watched that and they'd have gone, I don't want that. We can't afford to do that. So they promote George Russell to be alongside the, let's say, 7-time world champion and in the 7-time Constructors World Champions as well. They can't afford to do that. They can't afford to have a young guy who's been there 2 seasons, yes, Formula 2 world champion and that, and yes, he's beaten his teammates in every qualifying session. I think that still stands. You know, he did after he beat Robert Kubica every single season, and he's beaten Latifi, yes. But as I was explaining that to one of my other friends, that's like getting 100% attendance. So 2019, he got 100% attendance at school, but he still failed the exam. Robert Kubica didn't go in to any of the days, and he passed the exam because Robert Kubica got the point. I'm sorry, but you cannot argue with black and white results like that. He got the point, George did not. That's it. Thank you. Next. Of course, Robert doesn't equate it to George in that way, but in this way, George Russell, he's good, but remember, he didn't get the point still. And now, finally, people are catching up to realise George Russell hasn't got a point at Williams. He's been here a season and a half, almost 2 seasons. And, he hasn't got a point. Really? So, if they promote George Russell, he's not ready. He's not ready to take that seat. Who else is there? To be honest, nobody else really. They could move Checo Perez to the team. Mercedes engine at Racing Point, okay, yes, there is a chance there. But I still don't think he was going to go there. And then after that, the only option is Esteban Ocon, a man who has worked well with the team. He is managed by Toto Wolff. He does well. He's got good connections with Mercedes. And he might have even been sent to Renault to spy on them. We don't know. But there is a possibility that Ocon will go to Mercedes, Jordan. And I'm very adamant that. So if this happens next year, that's going to happen for sure. If this happens in 2024, 2025, yes, it's going to be George Russell. As long as he obviously stays on track, works with Williams, and gets a damn point. Because honestly, last year, there's nothing good about George's season. He beat Robert in every single qualifying session. I was saying 21-0. It does not matter, because I know that you might say, people, the Reynolds were disqualified, and of course a rainy race, but Robert getting the point, he got the point. And you can't take that away from anybody. He got the point, and there we go. That is it. That is done. So yes, I think 2021. Valtteri Bottas will be replaced by Esteban Ocon. But as I say, I want to go back to starting by saying that I do think Bottas is a good driver, and I don't think that he should be replaced. Anyway, moving on to my next statement, the second for this episode, and it comes in from Kirill. Or Russian name Kirill, as he's on Russian still. He needs to change it to German, and I think he is German as well, so that's not going to work. And he says, Kvyat did enough to deserve an AlphaTauri seat for next season. Yuki Tsunoda, who we talk about in another degree of disagree, saying that he should be promoted. So Yuki Tsunoda should stick with Formula 2 for another season, and he'll be 100% ready for Formula 1. Now, to that, I very much a Fiat sympathiser. I think when the chips are down, I really am. So to that, I say Fiat should stay, and he deserves it. Yes, 100%. I agree.
I want to say disagree.
So yes, as I said there, yeah, very much a Fiat sympathiser. You know, I can't believe what happened to him. You know, but and I do definitely think that. So AlphaTauri or Toro Rosso used to be a team. I mean, they've gone through massive changes. Like I taught in the Honda episode, they were once a Red Bull. You know, they were if Red Bull raised their left hand, Toro Rosso would, or they tried to. They wanted to be Red Bull. Well, actually, they were Red Bull, but they weren't. They were an Italian team pretending to be Red Bull. Remember, they weren't. You know, they were still a different team based in Italy. They were called Toro Rosso, which is the Italian word for Red Bull. But at the end of the day, I'm like, they're still their own team. Break out of your Red Bull shadow. They did in 2018 a little bit. You know, they revamped the team. I think it was blue and white. It was more of a glossy look. They had 2 new drivers that weren't in the Red Bull program. I think Brendan had worked with them before, but it just seemed to be different. And of course, a different engine than Red Bull. But they have all the time as well. They use Ferrari engines as well. So a different team now they are breaking out to be, and that's why they want the direction for AlphaTauri to go into a different team, a breakout team. Fiat, of course, gone through a Red Bull program. You know, hard for him, very very difficult. And the thing with Toro Rosso was they were making these drivers incredibly young. 1 season, maybe 2, but 1 season for sure. Breakout role, get in there. I see Fiat the first time, ironically, Fiat the first time, Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, they went through that and they shot through the Red Bull Junior program. Then you had people who, they were lost in translation. Sebastian Buemi, Jamie Alguersuari, those 2 drivers who actually, a little bit dated, few years at the team, had okay results, but as I say, amounted to nothing because they overstayed how long people like Dietrich Mateschitz thought they should have been at the team. And maybe that was also what happened to Carlos Sainz. He'd been at the team, he was only at the team for, it felt like a knock on the door. But maybe to people like Dietrich Mateschitz and Christian Horner and the Red Bull program, maybe he'd just been in the program long enough and he had to leave. Kind of like, like a time limit thing, an under 16s disco. You've got to be between 16 and 18 to get in. If you're too young or too old, you have to leave. So Danny Fiat, of course, getting on there. He's been at the team for a few years now. He's been in that whole situation for a very long time. Obviously, he came into Formula One in 2014, went through Toro Rosso, then Red Bull, back to Toro Rosso, back out of Formula One, back in Toro Rosso, then AlphaTauri. It's been a long trek for him. I think he fully deserves a seat, definitely. He's got the results, he's got the consistency. I think he really drives the team. And what I mean by that is because we're looking at Gasly, or last year even, Gasly and Albon, they were promoted, and I felt like they were looking after themselves. So Gasly was looking after himself by team, I'm off. Albon, new guy who Danny had to work with for 11 races. This is how you do it. This is how you drive a car. This is how you do well. Then Albon, gets the call up over Fiat. Then he goes off. Gasly comes back with his head down after a podium for Fiat. And he's probably thinking, oh, Gasly, why do I want Gasly? He's going to be depressed. He's going to be terrible to work with. Okay, Gasly picks himself up and does well. Probably Fiat, it shocked him, but he did well. And he is the leader of the team because he knows that when Albon went up, Gasly came down. They're still focusing on Red Bull, and they both will have Red Bull in their sights. I think Fiat now is more grounded. He's forgotten about Red Bull. He's trying to lead AlphaTauri in a different direction. And, Fiat is definitely the leader of AlphaTauri. He might not be the best driver there. Of course, Gasly for sure is. But I think he is a leader, as in he's quite consistent. And I would say he's the Jenson Button of McLaren in 2012. He's the man who, and obviously I know Jenson was there a lot longer, but even when Lewis was there, Lewis was after championships, Lewis was after wins, Lewis was more spicy. Jenson was the Mr. Consistent. I'll sacrifice a race win, but I just want the best for the team. Fiat seems like that, and that's what I really, really like about that. And yeah, Gasly's there for the race wins and stuff, and obviously Gasly's calming down a little bit now. He is leading the team in the right direction. And again, like I was saying there before, AlphaTauri now are breaking out of Red Bull's shadow. 2021, they both leave Honda. I think the cables are going to snap. And I think there's going to be no connection between them both. They both have a ball in the boat, and that's Red Bull's clothesline. But that is it. I think they're both going to go in separate directions in terms of engines. Renault, possibly even Ferrari back to AlphaTauri. They might go back to Ferrari, and I think there's a good possibility they will do. I think Kuts will tie then, and they're going to be two different teams in F1. Gasly and Kvyat will lead them in the right direction, and yes, because of Kvyat's consistency, I think he's leading AlphaTauri in a very, very strong direction, and I think he deserves to be in Formula 1 for another few seasons. I think something drastic's got to happen for me to say bye to Kvyat. I really, really do, because I think he's very consistent. He's a good driver. Okay, yes, he's not going to be world champion. He is not. He might not even win a race in Formula 1, but he's going to be there. He's going to be consistent. He's going to be points. He's going to be a Mark Webber. I know Mark Webber had race wins, but you know what I mean, though. And he's going to be strong, and he's going to be Nico Hülkenberg. He's going to be Nico Hülkenberg. Because remember, Nico is still a good driver. So, Jordan, that is my opinion on Kvyat. Yes, obviously, you disagreed with me. We went separate ways yet again. Yuki Tsunoda, though, but obviously I didn't talk about him there. But you said agree to getting him in Formula 1 now. He doesn't deserve another season in F2. He should come straight to Formula 1 and replace Kvyat. So, yes, what is your suggestion for the Italian team?
Yeah. It was more down to Kvyat as a whole. I'm not going to slay Kvyat's performances. I think they've been okay. They haven't been terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Now Gasly is a long way away from Kvyat because of that race win. Of course he is. And even if that race win never happened, Gasly still would have been quite some, well, not some margin, but still quite a long way ahead from his teammate Daniel Kvyat. And Kvyat's had his problems, of course he has this season. He has 1 or 2 reliability issues. Of course he had that big blowout at Silverstone as well. But nevertheless, I think Kvyat, he is a consistent driver. He is okay. I don't look at him and go, wow, this guy is brilliant. I don't look at it. I think he was dicked at Red Bull. I think that's how I'm gonna place it. He was dicked at Red Bull. And he should have been demoted. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. He should have been demoted, same way like Gasly should have. But hey, that's how it is. That's how it was. And now, since his return, he has found his form. And this season, I'm like, yeah, that's okay. But going forward, if he wants to stay, if he wants to be at AlphaTauri for another year, what's that? What's good is that to his career? He's not going to Red Bull. He isn't. And I'm like, right, if he wants to be at AlphaTauri, then fair enough. If he wants to be in Formula 1 for that reason alone, now that's good. But the same reason as Gasly, I think he needs to break away from the Red Bull program, try and go off to another team if he can, or even so, go off to another series, make a name for yourself while you can, instead of just sticking about in the midfield all your life. Does Kvyat want to do that? Probably not. He wants to go off and he wants to succeed. He wants to do it in Formula 1. But you've got to be realistic and go, maybe my chance is gone. Maybe this isn't going to work for me. And I think Kvyat is better than what he is, than what he's shown to be. I really do think that. And I think he could do better at another team. And normally, Red Bull sister team, AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, they normally don't have their drivers more than for about 3 years, let's say. Kvyat's been there for, I think, a total for about 4 years, almost. So it's like, Is Tsunoda ready? I think another year in F2 will do him the world of good, absolutely. But if he was to plonk his backside in that seat now, I think he would be okay. I think he's not like the next big up and coming thing, but nevertheless, he's proved he's done well in Formula 2. He's won a race already in Formula 2. So, and I'm looking at him going, yeah, I've seen enough for him to go right. Okay, let's put him in an F1 seat and see how it works. A year in F1 to get it to get him settled, get his feet together. Then of course comes the big year in F1 in 2022, and maybe that could be the year where Tsunoda might push a challenge to his teammate, whether that's Gasly or somebody else for that matter. And who knows? Kvyat could be there alongside Tsunoda if Gasly decides to get up and walk away and go off to another team, which I doubt it because there are very little seats available. But you never know with Formula 1, do you?
Mercedes to take
Mercedes.
No Ocon, no Russell. It's going to be Gasly.
It's going to be Gasly. Yeah, that would be a very left of field if that did happen. But no, I think I'm more looking at it going. I'm probably looking at it differently to what the opinion is, and I apologise. But I think it's more down to Kvyat. Does he want to be at AlphaTauri all of his career? No. He wants to go off and, like I said, make a name for himself. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that at AlphaTauri. He's not going to do anything at AlphaTauri. I just think maybe he needs to go off and do something else for next year, in my opinion, and give a junior someone else a seat in there. It might not even be Tsunoda. It could be Vips. I think Vips is tipped to do good things. I don't think he's got a super license, however. He might be eligible for one. But nevertheless, it might not be Tsunoda at all. It could be somebody completely different. I'm just more...
Well, you know who has got a super license, Jordan?
Who?
Mick Schumacher.
Mick Schumacher! Wow! That guy again.
You never thought, would you? The hot man in town. The one that everyone's talking about. You never know, he could go with AlphaTauri.
Mick Schumacher's going to Alpha. Yes, Tauri. Oh, right, okay. That could...
going to Al. He's going to Al. Yes, Pine.
He's going to yes, to Martin. All right. What's with all the years going on here, guys? Anyways.
He's going to Has. That was a bad one.
He's going to He's going to McLaren. Yeah, that was rubbish. Let's move on. That was
McLaren.
Oh wow, yeah. Number one comedy you get here on the F1 Debate Show, don't you guys? Anyways,
we're here all week. Enjoy the chicken. Tip your waitresses. We're here all week.
Exactly. Anyway, so I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so it could be anybody. It might not be Tsunoda. It could be anybody. It could be Vips. Yeah, it could be Vips. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But no, for Kvyat, I do think he needs to go somewhere else to make a name for himself in motorsport. So next opinion comes in from Motorsport Fanboy. And he says, another Mercedes vibe kind of one. I've chosen two Mercedes ones this week. It might be because I'm wearing a Tommy Hilfiger top right now. I mean, obviously other clothing brands are available. I must point that out. So I'm feeling a bit Mercedes today. Yeah, I'm a Mercedes fan. I'm a fanboy. You know, I'm British and I'm biased. George Russell, Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, British vibe. Love it. Anyways. Moving on, I don't know what the hell that was.
Schumacher, all the same.
Mick Schumacher, the German British vibe. I love it. Anyways, moving on. I don't know what that was. Right, where are we at? Okay, so George Russell, sorry, Motorsport Fanboy says George Russell has the potential to be world champion, but he needs to improve his race start and racecraft if he wants to be the future of the Mercedes team. He's already nailed qualifying, though. To that, I'm going to say agree.
That is an insanely tough one. Oh, we're always talking about George now. I mean,
I know.
It's got to be the car. It's got to be the time. I'm just going to play on the here and now, and I am going to say disagree.
He's going for disagree, people. See? We're not biased at all. Well, he's not. I am. Anyways,
I'm all about Mick Schumacher.
He's a Mick Schumacher. He's a Mick Schumacher fanboy. He's one of them.
I'm a fanboy. You've got to pick someone. I missed the boat with Max Verstappen, so I'm choosing Mick because I know Mick's gonna. I can ride him like a wave. He may not even get anything. He might be stuck on that 9 wins after 3 years, like Max Verstappen. But you know.
I never want to. Like you just said, I want to ride Mick Schumacher like a wave. I'm just gonna move. Let's move from that before.
I can't ride Max anymore.
Before this gets demonetized. Let's move on before we get taken off YouTube. So the reason why I'm saying agree now, Russell. We've seen it in the junior categories. Yes, he's got the capability, he's got the craft to be a world champion. Junior categories is nothing, is it? Formula 1 is 10 levels above junior categories. Junior categories gives you a glimpse as to what is on offer. What is this guy all about? Okay, Hamilton done very well, and of course Vettel did very well. Schumacher did okay. Rosberg didn't do too bad. And as George Russell, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, they've all done pretty well in the junior categories. They've shown some really good racecraft, then some good battles with their representative cars in Formula 1 in the past couple of years, which is brilliant to see, the future of Formula 1. Russell, it's a tough one, because a lot of people are saying this kid is really good. Other drivers are saying Russell is really good. Yes, he's in the Williams, he's not doing well, it looks bad, but trust me, this kid is quick. And we know this, and we know he's quick, of course he is. But he has got potential to be world champion, but having the potential to be world champion and being world champion is two totally different things. It's just having the potential gives you that a bit of pressure that okay, this guy is good, he can win a world championship. It just depends if he's at the right place at the right time, which more likely might be Mercedes. He does need to improve his racecraft, absolutely, but I want to see George Russell in a more competitive car, which a lot of people are probably agreeing with that. So I want to see him in a Renault. I want to see him in an Alfa Romeo, in a Racing Point or an Aston Martin. I want to see him in a different seat. going from bottom to the top, it has worked. I mean, Lewis Hamilton jumped straight into a top McLaren car from GP2 to Formula 1 straight away. It took it like a duck to water. You wouldn't even think he was a GP2 driver the year before. Mm-hmm. So for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. For Russell, will it work? It'll be a risk. If they do get Russell in, it is going to be a risk because he's been at the back. We have seen some good wheel battles, which proves that it's good there. But like Lyle said earlier, Kubica got the point. Okay, fair enough. And yeah, that car was terrible. And this season, Latifi's ahead of Russell. So, okay. Oh, but he's ahead in qualifying. That's good. That is good. Don't get me wrong. Being good in qualifying, he's dubbed as Mr. Saturday. But there's no points for qualifying on Saturday.
I said it's like school. I said it's like school attendance, isn't it, Jordan? You know, it might be good. It might be good to show. You know, it's like it's good to say, as you said, but it counts for nothing.
It is good to say,
yeah.
and that's not easy. By the way, I'm not having a dig here, George Russell. That's not easy to outqualify your teammate at every single event. That's a very impressive record. Like Hamilton can't boast that. Schumacher can't boast that. Nobody can boast that. But that will eventually come to an end. But let him enjoy it while he can. Qualifying, yeah, he's been absolutely on point this season. Absolutely superb. Getting into a number of Q2 appearances. It's been good. I just think the racecraft of that car isn't good. And we've seen that. We've seen how good it is in qualifying. It goes to the race, and you got the two Williams at the back once again. Could have got points to Mugello. He didn't. He had a bad start, didn't he? Slip of the clutch. What could have been? He was in P9 at one stage. But never mind. But again, silly little mistakes like that could cost you a world championship. Well, that could be the choice of you being a world champion, or I could have been a world champion. Oh, he could have done it, but he didn't because a little mistake he made. But no, it is still too young to say. Sorry, it's still too young. It's still too soon to say whether or not Russell will be a world champion. In my opinion, I think he has got the potential. He has got the ability. But I want to see him in another car. I want to see him in an Aston Martin more than likely. Ones like the likes of Stroll or even Vettel retires. Maybe put him in an Aston Martin and see how he does, and maybe Mercedes might watch it and go, yeah, I'm impressed. Or Mercedes might just go, I'll tell you what, let's gamble. Let's have a gamble. Let's do something completely different. Let's get Russell in. Let's get Russell in. It might pay off, and it might not. But do Mercedes want to take that risk? The choice is up to them, in my opinion. It will be up to them to decide whether they believe Russell is ready or not. At this moment in time, no, I don't think he is ready. Even though I did predict him to be in the Mercedes, but I literally did think that because I was like, I can't say Bottas being there for another year. Russell, he's so close to Mercedes. You know, he's their junior driver. He's everything about Mercedes. He's managed by Total. Is he managed by Total Wolff? I think he is. So through the back door, like Bottas did when Rosberg retired. I thought that's the reason why. But this season, I'm like, yeah, I want to see more from Russell. I want to see him in. If Williams can give him a more competitive car, then so be it. Brilliant. He is there for next year. But don't let that distract you. That the fact that Bottas might just go bang and retire it. Now, then what did they do? Probably get Ocon more than likely. Since I did say that. Yeah. But no. Like I said before, I do want to see more from Russell. I want to see him in a better car in the midfield, and then we can truly see what this guy is all about. Lyle, you said disagree.
Yeah, that's right.
Many people. I mean, people might be angry with you. People might be over the moon with you. I don't really know. I've been seeing the comments. What's the reason why you disagree with that?
So again, like I like to look at the here and now, and again, like your first opinion there about Mercedes and about Valtteri Bottas and Esteban Ocon. You know, we're talking about 2025. You know, I can't talk about that now because that's 5 years away. So you know, let me just start off by saying that yes, you know, George Russell has the potential to be world champion in the future. But for now, no, he doesn't. He's in a Mercedes. Sorry, he's in a Williams.
That was quick.
Which hasn't got racecraft. It hasn't got the chance. It hasn't got the potential. And even whatever happens with George's career, and even if he does go to Mercedes, there's no guarantee he will be world champion. With all of the talent that's here, you know, we've got Charles Leclerc, the helm of Scuderia Ferrari. I mean, I know, of course, Ferrari are not on the pace at the moment, but I definitely have faith that they will get there in the future. Actually, isn't that weird, Jordan, that we haven't had any Ferrari opinions? Isn't that weird? That's weird. Because we haven't. Opinions. Oh my God, actually, I was expecting, the last greatest agree we made was after Monza. And yeah, that was all about Gasly, of course, winner. But then, you know, we've had Mugello, we've had Sochi since then, that we've had no Ferrari. That's weird. Anyway, back to Russell. So yeah, you know, with all the talent that's coming through, and also Verstappen as well. And again, like I talked about in the news yesterday, Verstappen is, you know, he's got a lot of support from Red Bull, and he's got a lot more commitment than you guys actually give him credit for. He's got Red Bull written all over him, and I think he will stay there for a longer time than you think. Not all the time, of course. He's not gonna spend all of his career at the team. But he is going to be there because he knows he can take them to the next level, and he can be part of their history. They're very short, you know, just over a decade history, but he can be part of their history. And very much like I said with Fiat and AlphaTauri, not massive history, but he can be a part of the team. So Russell, there's no guarantee that he'll be world champion. And also as well, all the people saying that he is right now, it's a bit like Mick Schumacher. Is it all just hype? You know, are we just looking at someone who isn't going to get there? I mean, we never said Valtteri was going to be great when he was at Williams, and when he got promoted in 2017, we never said he was great. And again, as I'm just saying this right now, I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Why do everyone hate Valtteri Bottas? Oh my God, I think he's actually a decent driver. He might become my favourite driver of all time because of, you know, just everyone not liking him. I'm like, I like Valtteri. So. Valtteri Bottas, good driver. So anyway, yeah, there's no guarantee that George Russell is going to achieve what we all think he is. You know, hopefully he will get to the Mercedes one day, but with the regulation changes, are Mercedes still going to be on top? It's hard to say. And also, is he going to beat his teammate, whoever that is? Is it going to be Ocon? Is it still going to be Hamilton? From what he's doing now, of course, at at Williams, as we talked about there, Mr. Saturday, it doesn't get you points. But again, you know, if he is at Mercedes, maybe that it will become apparent, because obviously we think it's not important right now because he's in a Williams. But of course, it still is. You know, Q2 appearances, if he can do that, which of course he started out in the year getting regular Q2 appearances. I think it was Austria and then Styria and then Hungary. I think it was 3 off the bounce he got in a Q2. It was pretty amazing. And of course, when he goes to a top team, hopefully, and maybe even with Williams, if they can improve, hopefully it will be top 10s. And then when he goes to Mercedes, it'll be, you know, podium positions. And maybe it'll be second, and then even pole position possibly. He might not get the win. He might not be as skilled in racecraft, especially if he's got someone like Lewis Hamilton as his teammate. But if he can get second place, that's incredible for him. It's very hard to say with George Russell. It really is. I mean, I would like to see him as world champion, of course. I think he is our next British world champion. Sorry, Lando. But again, also as well, what do we think about Lando? I mean, why does people think George is better than Lando? Jordan, because again, I know, of course, that's not an opinion, but I don't know, just for me personally, I feel like I'm always talking about George Russell world champion and never Lando Norris world champion. And Lando is getting better performances than George Russell. He's got a better chance in that McLaren. He could win the world championship in that McLaren. It's not beyond this. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. He could do that. Yeah. When of course George winning in a Williams is ridiculous. And in that way, I'm like, you know, even Lando's could be ahead of him. The next British person, Alex Albon, you know, obviously British, you know, racing under a Thai flag, but he's still a British driver. He could win the world championship before Russell. Russell is incredibly skilled, but can he win the world championship? It's very, very hard to see. And as I say that leads me on to my next opinion, which is our final opinion today, and it is about a world champion, or possibly not a world champion, who is not going to be a world champion. And this actually comes in from Jack Milton, a regular on our channel. He's been on our channel before, a lot of opinions also, and he comes in with a very good one about a not world champion, and it's Daniel Ricciardo. Everyone's favourite Australian, the Honey Badger, who is going to McLaren in 2021. So Jack says Daniel Ricciardo will never be world champion. He's missed his chance, and he's destined for a midfield right now, midfield position right now. The man who, yes, he might have missed the ship, he might have missed the bus. He was at Red Bull, has it eluded him? I'm going to say to that, sorry, agree.
I'm going to agree too.
Oh, Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, man, that smile. I mean, that smile is, you know, it's intoxicating, and you'll be remembered as pretty much a great at Formula One. I know he hasn't had too many victories. He's been overtaken, of course, by the likes of Max Verstappen, but he might not be remembered as a great, but I think his personality and the way that he's taken to Formula One will be remembered very well. He's a great driver to have. One of the best for sure. He might not have the best result, and he might not be the best in terms of luck, but he will be remembered as a great. I say that as he's retiring. He's really not. He has a long future ahead of him. He really, really does. He's got McLaren, Mercedes next year. That is a chance and a half. It's incredible. So yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, the man who, yes, I think he's missed the bus in terms of him at Red Bull Racing. Probably the only team he's been at, and the only team he will be at, where winning a world championship is definitely beyond. It is definitely in his grasp. He could have won the world championship at the team. Of course, he saw Sebastian Vettel do it. He was the next person to be alongside Sebastian in that team. Started off absolutely obliterated Sebastian in Daniel Ricciardo's best season to date, in my opinion. 2014, 3 wins off the bounce. He humiliated his 4-time world champion teammate. I loved it so much, and I think that's where that grin came from. Because as I was saying, I started to grin. 4-time world champion, and you were humiliated by your young Australian teammate. I mean, Seb, wow, whatever happens in your life, I'm sorry, but let's just step back a moment. It's bad for Seb, but it was great for Danny Rick. He's done really, really well. He did well at Red Bull Racing. He got some wins. He worked well with Max Verstappen, but of course he wanted to step out of the shoes, go to Renault. It hasn't worked there. Well, I say it hasn't worked. He's still in the process, of course. He is getting close to a podium. Very, very good results in these last few races. Very, very good. I feel like he's just being spurred on for the fact of someone behind the scenes just saying, come on, you can do it. And that's all that's pushing him, because it just seems like out of absolutely nowhere, Danny Rick is to start to perform. And even Ocon, even the team is doing well, but I feel like Danny Rick, he's getting there. And yes, he will be on the podium for the rest of... Sorry, that was a badly worded. I meant for the rest of the season, every single race. He will be on the podium at least once for the remainder of the season. I am for sure definitely confident about that. I don't know which one it is going to be. Obviously, we are running out of time now, but I definitely think he'll be on the podium. And Cyril will have to get a tattoo, most likely somewhere that, that Danny Rick... I wonder what it's going to be of. Let us know in the comments below what do you think that the tattoo will be of, and where on Cyril's body. Don't get too descriptive though. So yes, of course that will be coming in. Danny Rick, very, very skilled. But yes, there's not much to say on this, Jordan. I mean, I think he has missed the bus in terms of a team position, a team where he can win the world championship. I don't think he's going to get that. I don't think McLaren are going to be there. And even if they are, it goes back to what I was just talking about before with George Russell. There is other drivers that are better than him on the grid. I'm not saying Max is going to be world champion. I'm not saying Charles is going to be world champion. Well, firstly, Lewis is going to be world champion, so let's just get that out of the way with. I mean, of course, yes, you do have Valtteri. I'm going to chuck Valtteri back in the mix. He's in the second Mercedes, incredibly strong. Yes, you have Charles Leclerc. We have no idea how strong that Aston Martin is going to be for Sebastian Vettel. Of course, we do have Max Verstappen as well. Alex Albon, okay car. There's people and even at McLaren, Lando Norris, who I do think he's a very skilled driver. He's been at the team longer. He could be better than Danny Rick, and I have a feeling that Lando Norris will outscore Danny Rick in qualifying and race pace at that team, because he's worked with the team, he's integrated, and he knows how it works, and he will be the leader when Carlos Sainz moves to Ferrari next year. So for all of them reasons, I don't think Danny Rick will be world champion. And if the pendulum does swing towards McLaren Mercedes being in a position where they can win the Constructors and win the World Championship, at this time, I think I'm looking at Lando. I really, really am. This is not a reaction to our video about him. I'm a fan of Lando, and I do think that he will win the World Championship before Daniel Ricciardo does. But again, that being said, Lando can only do it if the car is right for him, and again, there is people definitely beyond him that can win before him. But Danny Rick is probably entered Formula 1, or he's in Formula 1 right now, with one of the worst times when everyone there's big names ahead of him. And again, with the teams that he's been at and the teams that he's going at, I don't think he will be world champion. It's a real shame, Jordan. It really, really is. He's a really great guy, great driver, great smile, great person. Honestly, it really, really is a shame. Red Bull Racing, definitely the best chance he had. We look at 2017, possibly maybe his best season that he could have done. I mean, hopefully all the best for McLaren. I do hope it goes well. I know Jordan hopes it goes well, his team, but I don't see it going well. And that's not just for McLaren alone. That's for Danny Rick, a good driver, wins. Obviously he's had wins before. I'm hoping that he wins again. maybe in that McLaren. I don't think he will in the Renault, so definitely wins behind him. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. We've had some incredible drivers, Rubens Barrichello, Felipe Massa, Mark Webber. They've had wins, no world championships, and we still remember them as the best. So there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone's destined to win a world championship in Formula One. I think Danny's fate is just to, win and have a good long career in F1, but unfortunately not a world championship for the Aussie. Jordan, you also agree? I mean, I find this is actually quite a hard statement to talk about. Daniel Ricciardo, once my driver, he's going to be yours next year. World champion, unfortunately not. Yeah, what do you think about the Honey Badger for the rest of the season and beyond?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people might agree with this because, let's face it, is he going to win a championship? Is he going to win a championship at McLaren? I really don't know. Now, more than likely not, because, yes, McLaren are getting Mercedes power next year. That is brilliant. But Mercedes, I think, will still be at the top, and I can't see McLaren beating Mercedes because of that. I think Mercedes will still be there. I think Ricciardo will get podiums. He will return to the podium in a McLaren if they can build him the right car. They might go to 2022. It might be completely shambolic. You never know what might happen. It's no guarantee that McLaren will be back because they've got Mercedes power. Only time will tell on that. But still, though, you got to think about, right, okay, McLaren, they are on the right trajectory, but is it enough to take Ricciardo to a championship? Probably not. When you got the likes of Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes want to do just as well. Aston Martin are another team you've got to consider because of the amount of investment they're putting into the team right now. The new factory, everything else, Sebastian Vettel coming in, Lance Stroll, who's doing pretty well in a decent car. So... And yeah, his best chance was at Red Bull, and he always wanted to move to the top teams. Ferrari, Mercedes, it never came for him. And unfortunately, it's never going to come, and I'm afraid. You got that young crop of talent coming through the ranks where it's more appealing. And drivers like Ricciardo, what could have been? I really do think that. It pains me to say it, but he could be one of those drivers. I say it could because his career isn't over yet. McLaren might have hit the nail on the head. They really might have. They could be the front runner in the new regulations. I just don't think it will be. I think it'll still be Mercedes. I really do think that. But I hope I'm wrong because, hey, my team McLaren are doing really well. But I don't think going to McLaren won't be a bad move. I really don't think that. I think it'll be a good tussle between Russell and Norris, between Ricciardo and Norris. That'll be really good. Not only on the track, but in personality terms. Like those two will be bouncing off each other. I can't wait to see content behind the scenes of them two. That'll be carnage. It'll be so funny. But in race terms, I think it'll be good to see Ricciardo and Norris go head to head. Norris's third year at McLaren, alongside Ricciardo, who is a very quick driver. That's going to be very, very interesting to see indeed. But no, I can't see it being a McLaren. I think McLaren are some way off of being a World Championship winning team again. There is still a lot to do behind the scenes in terms of going forward. They are on the right movement. Ricciardo could be one of those drivers to push them to where they need to be. So when he leaves and someone else comes in, maybe they could be the driver to win them the championship. Or it could help Lando Norris could still be there and he could be the guy to become the next world champion for McLaren. So it's going to be interesting to see. Really, really is. But you know what I mean? Just because Ricciardo's a nice guy and he smiles and he's funny and everything like that doesn't guarantee you a world championship. You know what I mean? So never mind. But no, Ricciardo deserves a championship. I just don't think he's going to get it, unfortunately. But hey, if you agree or disagree, then let us know in the comment section below. Lyle, I think it's been a good agree or disagree this week. Yes, of course, we've missed a couple of weeks. Never mind. And yeah, it's good to be back. I love this series as always, as we sit heading towards the Eiffel Grand Prix. Returning to the Nürburgring. Woohoo! Looking forward to it. Said to be absolutely freezing, by the way. Freezing cold, raining. Bring it on.
Yes.
I'm excited. You're
Different
excited,
conditions, that's what we want, definitely. So yes, obviously, as John said there, thank you very much for watching and obviously sending your opinions. Been off for a few weeks again, but we need a bit of a revamp as well. Make sure to leave us your opinion, your fresh opinions as well. Please spread the word if you can. If you do not follow us on Twitter, please do. Our ads are below hand. We also, please, on our other social medias, we have Facebook. If you're still a caveman, We use Facebook. We have YouTube as well, of course, the Interactive Studio, and you can comment underneath this or any of our videos. Just, of course, put agree or disagree opinion, and obviously we will try and get it in our next video. We want to hear everything that you guys have to say, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what do you think? We are divided, and obviously that's one of the best things about our Formula 1 community. We are divided in what we all think, and this is what this channel is all about. This episode is all about. So obviously, thank you very much for watching. On this channel, coming up on Saturday, we have the F1 debate show. Please tune in for that. It will be a good one. We talk about Max Verstappen and of course, the Honda move as they're going to be departing Formula 1 at the end of 2021. We made a small video about that earlier on, so please go and check that out while you wait for Saturday's. But Saturday's video will be a very good one. Please go and check that out. We talk about Max, we talk about Alex, we talk about the AlphaTauri boys of Danny Kvyat and Pierre Gasly. We kind of maybe skim over the McLaren Honda maybe a little bit, because that did happen unfortunately. But it's about what is going to happen for 2021 with Red Bull and AlphaTauri, and then of course, as John said there, the 2020 Eiffel Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, and the race reaction will come from Jordan as well after the race in Germany. Mixed conditions. It should be a very good one. Really can't wait for that. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers, guys, so please help us out. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified every time we upload. We really appreciate it. We love the growth on this channel. It's incredible. We hope that you guys enjoy our content as well. But in the meantime, and until next episode, stay safe, and we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.